What's going on, guys? Mega Gig back with another video. Today we are taking a look at the Jade Harvester build and the changes for patch 2.6.1. We are on the PTR. Not a whole lot has really changed with this build. Mainly the build itself, the set bonuses were mainly buffed. I don't believe there were really any other changes from what I've been looking around. So the only real changes we have with this build is the 2-piece and the 6-piece set bonus. And the 2-piece, when Haunt lands on an enemy already affected by Haunt, it instantly deals 480 seconds worth of Haunt, which was previously only 120 seconds. So that translates into a direct buff. As you know, your damage would be on there for only 120 seconds. Chunk all that at once compared to over 480 seconds. That's a pretty significant amount of damage that it would do over time more, and so you're absorbing all that and doing that all at once. Same with the 6-piece set bonus. It now deals, Soul Harvest now deals 1200 seconds worth of remaining damage, which initially was 300 seconds. So that really just translates into a direct buff. Let's get that on there. And nothing in the cube has really changed. 2 options here. I'm using Wormwood. This build does do more damage to elites, of course, if you use the Furnace, which is basically your only other option that I'm aware of. But you do have to cast Locust Swarm a lot more, and this becomes a very mana-heavy build. And in higher greater rifts, you're not nuking through packs one after another, even trash. And so having to cast Locust Swarm much more turns this into a very mana-heavy build. Of course, if you're wanting your absolute most damage, you're going to have to go with the Furnace. Wormwood is just really great for convenience, and it does help you, stay topped up on your mana. Again, it is going to slow you down just a little bit. For your armor slot, you're going to use whatever this thing is. I'm not going to try and pronounce that. Locust Swarm and Haunt now deal their damage in half the time. That hasn't changed, and neither has your jewelry slot, Ring of Emptiness. You deal 300% increased damage to enemies affected by both Haunt and Locust Swarm. Another thing about using Wormwood is it frees up time to cast Haunt more, especially while you're in your jaunt. Because this takes about a second to cast, which really means there's 1 or 2 less haunts out. In my case, it's 2 because I'm using the Haunting Girdle. Haunt releases an extra spirit, and then we're using the Poison Spirit on Haunt, so they take 20% more damage. So that way, when I get in a group, and you'll see here in just a minute, when I cast Haunt, it's going on 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 enemies, and then I can burn the whole pack down. Whereas without the Haunting Girdle, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 enemies. So you're allowing yourself to coat the bulk of the enemies quicker with Haunt. And then, of course, Locust Swarm is also automatically coating them with Locust Swarm very fast because of your Wormwood. And we're also using the Vile Hive offhand, so Locust Swarm gains the effect of the Pestilence rune, which means it doubles its spread rate, basically. As for the rune on Locust Swarm, we're using Cloud of Insects, so enemies deal reduced damage. This is a pretty squishy build because there's not a lot of action going on. All your damage kind of comes in big bursts, so you don't really have a lot of sustain. You're trying to avoid damage as much as possible. Which kind of brings us to our gems. I didn't really plan on going over this whole build because the whole build hasn't really changed. I'm just going over things that are kind of important to the build itself and things that we've changed, I guess. But I will talk about the gems we're using: Bane of the Trapped, Bane of the Stricken. And the third gem, again, like I was just saying, we don't have a lot of sustain because we're doing damage in big bursts. So you're gonna probably need an esoteric alteration, especially in the higher greater rifts. If you're pushing through T13 or lower greater rifts, Bane of the Powerful is a great gem. I have done an 85 on this build, but yeah, and we will probably do an 85 here in just a second. And I tried doing it with the Bane of the Powerful, and you're just too squishy, and you don't kill packs fast enough to keep your cooldown on your Spirit Walk to always stay in it. So you really do need some tankiness, and that comes in the form of your Esoteric Alteration, adding more. Of course, we're also using Lakumba's Ornament to reduce our damage taken by Soul Harvest by 6% for each stack of Soul Harvest we have. And then we're using Sacred Harvester, allowing Soul Harvest to stack up to 10 times. All pretty basic Jade Harvester build type stuff. We're using a Life Gem in the helmet, and then we're just running Intelligence Gems here. I could swap these out for Resistance Gems, but I don't have any of the max level ones on this character, and I didn't feel like looking around for them. So, I mean, I could craft them here really fast, but it's not that big of a deal. If you want more toughness, obviously swap these out to diamonds. Yeah, that's not much more to be said on that. As for passives, we're using Graven Justice because we are going to be killing trash packs and whatnot very quickly. Sometimes not instantly like we would like, but when we do kill things, we want our cooldowns to be resetting constantly. We're using Spirit Vessel to cheat death, Confidence Ritual because we're going to be in the midst of everything for most of our damage, except maybe on the Rift Guardian. You might want to keep some distance from them for a while. Overall, though, we're going to be right in the middle of it. And then Creeping Death. Now, this is interesting. Creeping Death, your Haunt, Locust Swarm, and damage amplification from Piranhas lasts almost forever. Something about this particular build, and I could just be stupid and overlooking it, but if you don't use Creeping Death, this build does like no damage at all, even if everything is affected by all those things. So yeah, I don't know. But you definitely want Creeping Death on this. Try it out yourself. If I'm stupid, which I probably am, and overlooking something, just let me know in the comments what it is. As for the other skills, you can see Haunt, Poison Spirit, Locust Swarm, Cloud of Insects, Spirit Walk Jaunt, Horrify, Frightening Aspect, Piranado, and Soul Harvest Languish. So we've really quickly covered the build. We are using a Unity, and we are using the Endless Walk set. Quickly covered the build. If you want a more in-depth guide on this entire build, I do have a Jade Harvester build up on my channel from a couple of months back, so go check that out. Like I said, the build overall hasn't changed. Just the 2-piece and the 6-piece set bonuses have been buffed. Unfortunately, not a lot of toughness in this build, and not a lot of toughness that I see being added to this build. It would be nice, but even when we are fully stacked with everything, our toughness is only like 250 million. So you really do have to move around a lot and stay out of harm's way. Oh, I will show you this. I did get this from the merchant there. It's kind of nice. I'll be showing that off later on when we go over other builds as well. We've pretty much gone over all the barbarian stuff. Now we're gonna go over the witch doctor stuff real quick, and then probably move on to the monk. Things that I have, characters that I can discuss in depth, or at least somewhat in depth. Things like the wizard. Unfortunately, I don't have my wizard really maxed out with all kinds of gear. Same with the crusader and demon hunter. But yeah, I will go over the stuff that I can go over. And we're just going to run a Greater Rift 85. Of course, this build just tears through T13. Pretty much any and every build tears through T13 now. And I do think that overall, I'll say this, I think Jade Harvester is probably meant to be more of the T13/farming build. But there's always going to be someone out there who really loves a certain build, and they just really focus on it. And they push really high with this build, so keep that in mind. But yeah, my last time really trying this build before the buff was I think I was struggling to do a 70, and so now I was able to do 85. It was a challenge, and I may not get it in this video, just to let you know. But I did get it, and I was struggling to do 70, so the damage, the power of this build has been buffed up quite a lot. I do wish some toughness would be added into it in some way, shape, or form. Anyways, all that being said, let's get into it and see what we can do. We want to get in. We want to get our soul harvest stacks so we can get some damage reduction. And we're stuck. We can't move. We're going to have to pop our passive when we're going to die. It's completely stuck. Couldn't move. The trick is you want to kill things fast so you can get your cooldown reduction on your Spirit Walk and stay in Spirit Walk as much as you can. So don't pop your Soul Harvest until your Spirit Walk is off cooldown or is off until you're out of it. And oh man, this is just horrible pack. I'm not able to kill anything and I'm getting stuck and all kinds of stuff. There you can see multiple haunts going off. Now we'll get in the middle of it. There we go. Now we got a couple kills and we were able to reset. And so basically you want to just keep casting your Spirit Walk, stay in Spirit Walk, and keep casting Haunt, because Haunt is going to be doing damage each time it lands on an enemy that's already affected. And then when your Spirit Walk comes off cooldown, recast your Soul Harvest and it resets all your cooldowns basically. When you get a really horrible pack, you're probably going to have some trouble. It's not uncommon with most builds. It is why we have our cheat death. Use your Piranado to bunch enemies up. Again, keep casting Haunt, spam Haunt because it does not cost very much mana, and it does do a decent amount of damage while your Soul Harvest is coming up. And also because of the Jade Harvester set bonuses each time you cast Haunt, or each time you do damage with it, something like that. It cools down your Soul Harvest. So if you see my Soul Harvest ticking down when it's not, when I'm not killing things, you can see there it's because I'm casting Haunt. Just keep casting Haunt while your Spirit Walk is, while you're in your Spirit Walk, and then as soon as it comes up, try and blow everything up with your Soul Harvest, and hopefully that resets your Spirit Walk, or at least gets it close. Wow, that was kind of a crap floor. It wasn't really that hard of an 85 that I did. You saw the time, it was like 13 minutes and something. And yeah, it wasn't that bad. The Rift was pretty good. Can't complain. And if you're in a giant pack and you get everything to completely reset a couple of times, you can just keep popping off your Soul Harvest and do loads and loads of damage all at once. Shielding enemies are always annoying. They really make you do less damage. Especially if you're not paying attention to when they shield and you pop your Soul Harvest. And it doesn't, doesn't do anything. Go ahead and kill these guys. And let's move on. We're bunching them up, and we're casting fear to. Uh-oh, we're stuck. We're casting our fear to, or what is it? Horrify, to gain that boost of armor. Is the main reason behind it. And all right. we could use a shrine. You do want to stand in the Oculus ring as often as you can, because that is a big boost of damage, especially when casting Haunt, getting your stacks up. With the furnace, of course, you would be doing more damage, but again, a lot more mana heavy. If you want to become a pro at this build and really push with this build, you're going to have to use the furnace eventually. But if you just enjoy playing the build and you kind of want to push to mid-tier level on Greater Rifts and you want to use it as farming, then Wormwood is just fantastic. And I really like Witch Doctor. It's one of my favorite classes, and I just prefer to use the Wormwood. It is so much easier. Uh-oh, we're stuck. That's one of the problems with this build. If the toughness, if you get in the middle of everything and you aren't able to blow it up, then you're gonna probably get stuck. Another option instead of your what is it? Your whatever that thing is. You can use illusory boots so you don't get stuck. But you're just going to be doing a little bit less damage, your Haunt and your Locust Swarm. Again, those aren't really the main focus of your damage. It's the bonuses from the set that is doing the most damage. So that's really up to you. But because we are using Wormwood and not Furnace, I wanted to be doing the most damage that I possibly could. And you can see even just our Haunt chunks away at enemies. This build does suffer on the Rift Guardian. Of course, kind of depending on which Rift Guardian you have. Now, one change to the Witch Doctor that is very welcome is the Soul Harvest stacks now stack up more like the Necromancer's Bone Armor, where you can refresh your entire stack on just one enemy. That is a welcome change. Because before, each stack was its own stack, and they would start to drop off, and that just got really annoying and made many Witch Doctor builds much more difficult on the Rift Guardian because you couldn't keep your toughness up. Now in big groups too, your Haunt is also expanding more and more and more. You're getting more and more Haunts out because they do go to the next victim after something dies. And another shielding, I think. Yeah, that's unfortunate. However, a somewhat downfall on this build, it depends when you're using it, if it's a downfall or not. When you want Haunt to only be cast on one enemy, if there are enemies close, it doesn't matter the enemy that you have selected. It's not going to go on that enemy. It's going on the next closest one if Haunt is already on it. And it will only start to land on the enemy that you're targeting once all the enemies around it are affected by Haunt. So it's a good thing when you're trying to spread Haunt, but then when you're really just trying to blow one unit up, it's kind of a bad thing. So just be aware of that if you're new to the build or you know, didn't know that. We're not really doing that bad, except that first floor was kind of garbage. But we are falling behind. It would be nice to get a good shrine. All we got was that speed shrine, which isn't bad. It helps us get Haunt off faster, but your Soul Harvest does have a decent range to it for really for what it is. It's a little more than Whirlwind, I believe, on the Barbarian, but I'm not 100% sure on that. And all of our stuff is on cooldown. Those stupid bees staying far away from us. Sure would be nice if they'd come into us. Let's round up some more enemies here. Get in this Oculus ring if we can. And we're going to get frozen, I think. And, oh darn, trapped and frozen. Not a good combo to be up against. Just about knocked him out. There's one. And then this guy's going down. There's the other. Now I'm kind of torn on which way to go. Shield Shrine's nice on this build, but not when you're falling behind. Yeah, and picking the wrong way isn't good either. Come on, we need density. I feel like unless we get a power shrine or a conduit shrine, probably not going to get this. And like I said, you'll struggle with the Rift Guardian, so you do need to get to them as fast as you can. Alright, at least we picked the right direction this time. Yeah, these guys are going down pretty fast. You don't have to hit haunt around enemies. It's kind of nice just to control them a little better, but the main thing is you want that armor buff to toughen you up. And you can see how fast our locust swarm spreads because of pestilence and wormwood being around us. Oh no, our cooldowns. And that's not good. We're dead. Totally dead. Yep. I wasn't able to kill anything both times when I was using my... It'll die now, but a little too late. And we already popped our passive again. If you want to spread haunt faster, you can use Unrelenting. I think it's Unrelenting Spirit to spread your haunt faster on enemies. Which I think, coupled with our belt, releases 4 haunts at once. I think. Yeah, your main damage on the Rift Guardian is going to be your haunts. So stand in the Oculus ring as much as you can. And unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get this. We were close, though. And we might still. We've still got a few seconds. But we're out of mana. Yeah, so close, so close. But the build is definitely more useful than it was, like many others. It doesn't really struggle for mana until you get to the Rift Guardian. And then, so yeah, if you didn't have Wormwood, you can see how you would really struggle for mana, especially on the Rift Guardian. So not bad. Rift wasn't that great. Could have been better. Second floor, or no, last floor. The third floor was really good. Other than that, kind of a crapshoot, I guess. But yeah, that is the Jade Harvester build. The changes. It can do an 85 fairly easily. My gear isn't the greatest, and I don't have all the right stats rolled on everything. So, yeah. But there is the Jade Harvester build and the changes. What do you guys think, and what else could they do to this build to make it better? You agree there should be some kind of toughness aspect added into it? I really think that would help. Yeah, I don't know, because you don't really have any sustain. You're just kind of blowing enemies up. So unless you use the life regeneration gem or ring, I think it is, that's in the cube or something like that, you really don't have any sustain. So yeah, let me know what you guys think, and like the video if you like the video, dislike the video if you dislike the video, comment if you know of anything that, or if you have anything to say that they could change the build on. I'm starting to stutter over my words here. And subscribe if you want to see more, guys. Thanks for watching, and more good stuff to come. Take care.